welcome to the Water Agency regular meeting of the Port Hueneme Water Agency. It is 4:03 p.m. on my clock, and we are meeting via remote Zoom. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the provisions of Government Code Section 54953, Subdivision E, and the recommendation of the Ventura County Public Health Officer issued some Public Health Officer order issued September 21, 2021, and the social distancing recommendation. Our City Council chambers are closed for the purposes of this meeting, but the public has been invited to participate live via Zoom, the Zoom link that's been provided to you. I'd like to ask our clerk to please now conduct the roll call.
Member Perez?
Here.
Member Rollins?
Here.
Member Bouchard?
Here.
Ex officio member Jacobson? Absent for the record. Vice Chair Hernandez?
Here.
Chair Devlin is absent for the record.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm an alternate in for Commissioner Board Member Dudley. Jebley, sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, seems like we have a quorum here. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments for today's meeting that are not already posted, that are not for specific items on the agenda?
I have not received any comments, any written comments for this meeting.
Okay, let's go ahead and approve the agenda. The agenda is before you. We have, looks like 4 items on the agenda. May I entertain a motion for approval?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, so Member Rollins has made the motion and it's been seconded by Member Perez.
Member Rollins?
Yes.
Member Perez?
Yes.
Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez?
Yes. And I guess since I'm standing in for Mr. Dudley, I will go ahead and I guess we don't take a vote for Marcia. Is that correct?
I think I can vote if I'm in attendance. I can vote, I believe. And I was told that our general manager would call in to notify me unless the rules have changed.
No, as an alternate, she can vote.
Okay, great.
Yes. Thank you.
Member Marcus?
Yes.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you very much. We have on our consent agenda 2 items. The first item is approve the minutes of the Water Agency regular meeting of March 21, 2022. May I have a recommendation to approve, a motion to approve in a second, please?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, Member Bouchard has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Member Perez has offered the second. Roll call vote, please.
Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Member Perez?
Yes.
Member Rollins?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez?
Yes.
Member Marcus?
Yes. I read the minutes of last meeting.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. And we'll go ahead and take item 2, receive and file the cash disbursement report for March 15th, 2022 through April 11th, 2022. I realize we could have taken these together, but I'm decided to do them separately if that's okay with everybody. So may I have a motion to receive and file the cash disbursements report?
Move to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Member Rollins.
I'll
Do I have a
second.
second? Second by Member Bouchard. Roll call vote, please.
Member Rollins?
Yes.
Member Bouchard?
Yes.
Member Perez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
Member Marcus.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. All right, our first business item is item number 3, Brackish Water Reclamation Demonstration Facility, our regular operational report by Mr. Don Villafana. You may proceed, Mr. Villafana, with your report.
Good afternoon, board. This is the operational report for the month of March. And during the month of March, the plant was in operation the full month. Our water demand for this month was 3.25 million gallons per day, which was the same as it was in February of this year. February was also 3.25 million gallons per month. Last year, March 2021, the plant operated the entire month and our demand was slightly lower. It was 2.87 million gallons per day. When the plant operates continuously, that means the silt density index is below the threshold, which is 3. This past month, the silt density did not get above 1. And for this month, United Water supplied approximately 82% of our water, and Cayugas provided approximately 18% of our water. Now, an important issue is the next item, just our water supply. We're still within our allocation. We've used approximately 19% of our allocation from United, and it is a calendar year usage. And we've used approximately 17% of our Cayugas water. Now, with respect to the shortage, we don't anticipate any shortage. However, tonight, I'm going to be going to City Council and asking for the adoption of a resolution taking the city to a level 2 water supply shortage. And I believe the Beach District has already taken additional conservation measures also. So I wanted to give the board that heads up. Governor Newsom gave an executive order N722. It was issued on March 28th. It calls for local water suppliers to activate drought emergency plans. And basically it's directing the water agencies to go to a level 2. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight at the City Council. And it's the individual agencies that make up PHWA that take this action. The Beach District takes this action on their own, and the city takes this action on their own. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. And just to give you a heads up on what a level 2 is, we passed it, the city passed an ordinance back in 2010. Andy Santa Maria, the Public Works Director at the time, did that. And we were in a level 2 for a number of years. Tim Thyssen, the Public Works Director at the time, implemented that. Then after a very wet year in 2017, the governor, the state was no longer in drought conditions, and we were able to move back to a level 1. Well, unfortunately, we are back to severe drought conditions, and per the governor's executive order, the water agencies need to move to a level 2. And what a level 2 will do is watering of landscaping with an irrigation system during the dry season. The dry season is April through October, only 2 days a week. And that's going to be done at night. And this will be for the City Council, the members of the board that are City Council. You'll get a more in-depth explanation tonight, but I'm just letting everyone know. You won't be able to, you can only wash a car with a hose and a bucket. Refilling of pools and spas is limited to 1 foot, and filling of decorative ponds are just limited to maintain established aquatic life. And the city is going to be doing an outreach. We're going to be adjusting our own irrigation schedule to fall in line with the adopted resolution. We're only going to be watering at night, and the 2 days that are going to be designated for watering are Wednesdays and Saturdays. We're going to be preparing educational and outreach to the residents of Port Hueneme. We'll be putting up message boards. We already have on our solid waste vehicles water-wise information. We're going to be preparing handouts and flyers. This Friday, we have an Earth Day event, and we are going to have a Public Works informational booth down at the pier, and we'll be handing out information on water conservation. We will also be preparing a mailer to go out in the next utility bill. It'll be giving people what a water level 2 emergency is and the requirements, the limits on watering. It will be one sheet, one side in English, one side in Spanish, and we'll be working with finance and our billing department to get these included. Probably, we don't know if we're going to make the May deadline, but we'll definitely make the June deadline. So that is what the city is going to be doing. Are there any questions?
Mr. Villafana? Sorry, I didn't put my hand up.
Okay, either.
Go ahead,
either
Member
you or-
Perez, and then we'll go to Member Rollins.
I just had a question. All the other ways are great. Are you also going to put out a social media post that we can share?
Oh yes, this will be the flyer will be posted on our social media.
Thank you.
Member Rollins? You're muted, Member Rollins.
On Wednesdays and Saturdays, what will be the duration of time that lawns can be watered? 15
minutes with automatic irrigation, and that is spelled out in the resolution tonight that you'll be getting asked to adopt the specifics of the level 2.
And so that will include like foliage plants along with turf?
Correct. And we are adjusting that the resolution, if adopted tonight, will take effect in 10 days. So during those 10 days, we'll be doing a community outreach, and we will be adjusting the sprinklers and controllers on all city property to come in line with that adopted resolution. So we will only be watering two days a week, and that's going to be at night.
Any other questions for Mr. Villafana? Mr. Villafana, I have one question about the event this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit more? I had not heard there was a celebration on the pier or an event on the pier.
Well, it's going to be at the base of the pier this Friday. It's going to be a Public Works informational booth. We have a pop-up, and we've taken this to events like Hueneme Bay Emergency Information Day. We've had it when we had the food truck events at the pier. We had a Public Works information booth. So that's what we're going to be doing for Earth Day, and we're going to be handing out various items on water conservation and other Earth Day events. That's what we're doing for Earth Day.
Oh, okay. Terrific. And what time will you be out there?
Between 10 and 2.
Between 10 and 2. Oh, very
Friday.
good. On Friday. Oh, terrific. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion in a second, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Member Rollins said second. And this is a receive and file. Let's go ahead and do a roll call.
Member Perez,
Yes.
Member Rollins,
Yes.
Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
Member Marcus.
Thank you. Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. We are now at item 4. This is the AB 361 remote meeting compliance, renewal and reconsideration of remote meetings pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E. And we'll invite Mr. Spalding to present the report. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Hernandez. As many of you are probably getting used to this, AB 361 is the law that was enacted by Governor Newsom in the California State Legislature that allows remote meetings during a state of emergency to continue if the legislative body determines one of two findings, and that is that the state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person, or that state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. For your own edification, the state of emergency continues in California, and the September 21st, 2021 letter from Dr. Levin encouraging social distancing measures remains in effect, despite the fact that mask mandates have been lifted and our numbers are relatively low these days. And in addition, on March 21st, 2022, just for clarification, the City Council voted to resume in-person meetings. With respect to City Council meetings, the PHWA, as its own independent agency organized under the Joint Powers Authority, has the right to determine whether or not it will meet in person or whether or not it will continue remote after making one of those two findings. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Spalding? Okay. What's the pleasure of the board? What would you, anybody want to make a recommendation to stay with remote meetings versus going live?
I would.
Or versus in person, I mean. Yes,
Yeah.
Member Bouchard.
Sorry, I'm in my car, so I can't raise my hand. I apologize, Chair Hernandez.
No problem.
I stated at the last meeting, and again, I want to be respectful of other board members, but I would fully support us going back to live meetings. However, I don't want to make that motion now and put anybody on the spot. If there's, I want to respect the rest of this board and happy to continue the process of remote meetings if that's the pleasure of the rest of this board. But I would be prepared to make a motion to return back to in-person meetings if it didn't affect the ability of any other member of this board to attend.
Okay. Anybody want a second? Is that a motion, Mr. Bouchard?
I'll make the motion for purposes of discussion. I'll make the motion that we not adopt the resolution and that PHWA board consider going back to in-person meetings.
Okay. Do we have a second? No second. I guess the motion fails for lack of a second. Then we're going to need a motion to continue remote meetings. Does anybody want to make that motion?
I will move to continue remote meetings.
Okay. Who's second?
I'll second.
Okay. Member Perez, thank you. Any discussion?
And Mr. Spalding, if you could, or if it's not appropriate for me to ask, because I'm not sure if this directly relates to the motion that's on the floor. I'm curious as to the council's ability, or the council making the finding to return to in-person meetings, and we're not doing it here. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask. It's not directly related to the motion.
It seems somewhat related to the motion, and the question really is it seems that you're asking the distinction between the PHWA and the City Council.
I'm fairly familiar with that distinction. I guess it was more of a curiosity as to, we have 3 members of the council here, and they returned to in-person meetings, but we're unable to establish it for PHWA. And and I guess maybe I should ask the other board members as it relates to it, if it's a question of, so that I understand, because I don't want to be, like I said, I'm fully respectful of it. If it's continued safety concerns that exist that are separate here than at the council level.
I would like to remind the members that there are one of two findings that are required to be made by law, and that is that they cannot meet in person, or that a local official continues to recommend social distancing measures. And that alone would be sufficient to stay in remote meetings. And either the city council or the PHWA would be entitled to remain remote, provided that that body makes that finding.
I don't know what the other members' reasons are. I really don't have a preference, to be honest. If the board majority wants to go back in person, I'll go back in person. Otherwise, I don't know what Mayor Rollins' reason was, but I really don't have a preference.
I generally, as a rule, we don't get a lot of the general public at the Water Association meetings, while at the council, as representative of the last council meeting, we still get a lot of public input that people want to come down to the meeting. And so while if the rest of the Water Association wants to meet in person, great. There is a certain convenience level for us to be meeting remotely, which I guess even kind of shows today. We got, a member not able to do it a couple of times. Like, I've been able to be at the meeting remotely while I might not have been in person. I think that's maybe the case today a little bit. But, I don't have any strong dogmatic reasons why we would, if everybody wanted to do it and they wanted to deny this and put on a new motion, that's great. But since we didn't have a second for the last motion, we have a second for this motion, so might as well put it through.
I would also like to re-interject to be clear, convenience is not a factor in this decision, and that the only possible reason that can be considered is that a local official is recommending social distancing measures and that this board has made such a finding.
Okay.
Noted.
Okay,
That's not necessarily my thoughts. So if someone wanted to add another reason, now's the time to put it up.
well, I guess if it sounds like there's a feeling among some of the members that we could go back to in-person meetings. To do that, we'd have to have Member Rollins withdraw his motion.
I think
And then we would.
I don't know, did I make the motion or did I second it?
No, the motion now has to have a vote because a second has been made. The motion may
okay.
not be withdrawn.
Okay,
If this motion passes, that ends the vote and meetings continue remotely. If this motion fails, then another motion needs to be made and
oh, I
seconded.
see. Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you go ahead and take the vote then? And the motion again is to resume remote meetings, essentially.
Member Rollins,
Yes.
Member Perez,
Yes.
Member Bouchard,
I will abstain.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
I'd say no.
Member Marcus,
I'm going to abstain. I do think that the county has come up with some new numbers today, so I'm not sure where we're going with this, but I'm not going to vote on this.
For the abstaining members, I would recommend that unless you have a conflict, you should not abstain. You were appointed or elected to these positions.
I agree with that. Okay, I asked our general manager if he had a strong feeling, and he said not really. So I just will go along. I really respect Board Member Jared Bouchard, but I will vote for this motion. So I think, is that a tie?
I will, I'll go ahead and change my vote to no, but to your point, Mr. Spalding, I was abstaining out of respect for the rest of the board members to, if there is a you know, I know that the finding is made now that, you know, the order's in place. And I just wasn't sure. I didn't want to offend someone who may have had medical conditions that they have concerns. So I will vote no.
I understand that, but it looked like we weren't even going to have enough for a majority vote one way or the other, in which case it would have been problematic procedurally. So now I'll ask Sylvia for the tally because I believe that motion passed.
And I do want to confirm, Member Marcus, your vote was a yes to continue a Zoom meeting?
Yes.
Okay, then we do have 3 yeses and 2 nos, or 1 no. I'm sorry, 2 nos. 3-2.
Okay. So the motion is approved,
passes.
and we will be resuming remote meetings. Okay, thank you, everyone. Good little lesson there in the process. Okay, and thank you, Mr. Spalding, for the clarification. Really appreciate that. Now we'll take board member reports, comments, and any requests for future agenda items. Anyone? All right.
I would just like to say it's a pleasure being here once again, and I respect the work that the board does. As far as the meetings go, for me, it's a lot not easier, but I do have a health issue in the family, so for me, these meetings have been great. However, I don't sit on this board as a regular member, so that's why I hesitated to vote, but I respect everybody's vote. Thank you, and just stay healthy.
Thank you. My regards to Brad.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. Any other comments or questions before we adjourn? Okay, thank you, everybody, for making this meeting happen. Thank you, staff, for your support. It is 4:30 exactly, and we'll go ahead and adjourn until the regular meeting of Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.